Alrighty, so this is Diesel We the People News. Okay, again, we just never look straight forward. We always look around us, be able to protect ourselves by any means necessary, people. Now, um, again, usually I do these videos for myself, and you guys get to see some of the benefits off of it, per se. Alright, um, every state has it, and you must look up yours, but they're all within the realm of the same thing. They may just be Texas may be Canon 5 and yours may be Canon 2, but they all are within the same umbrella, people. Okay? And we need to know these. Okay? There's a judge out there, it's real famous, running amok. Okay? But we don't realize it because, you know, we just ignore and think that she has these powers. Um, Number one, uh, name would be Judy. So if you guys actually look at this and then you watch her series of her uh, Judy videos out there, you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, this is what they must go by. Okay, and in this case, this is Texas Code of Judicial Conduct. Okay, again, you guys got to look at your own states of what number. And this is beneficial for number one, for the people that court watches. Okay, so if you want to be a court watcher or your family's in trouble, take this list with you. See what they are doing wrong, people. And again, I'm using an example as Judy because she breaks all kinds of canons. And yet she's famous. Oh, the irony in that. Okay, let's go.
Texas Code of Judicial Conduct. Preamble. Our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us. The role of the judiciary is central to American concepts of justice and the rule of law. Intrinsic to all sections of this Code of Judicial Conduct are the precepts that judges, individually and collectively, must respect and honor the judicial office as a public trust and strive to enhance and maintain confidence in our legal system. The judge is an arbiter of facts and law for the resolution of disputes and a highly visible symbol of government under the rule of law. The Code of Judicial Conduct is not intended as an exhaustive guide for the conduct of judges. They should also be governed in their judicial and personal conduct by general ethical standards. The code is intended, however, to state basic standards which should govern the conduct of all judges and to provide guidance to assist judges in establishing and maintaining high standards of judicial and personal conduct. Canon 1. Upholding the integrity and independence of the judiciary. An independent and honorable judiciary is indispensable to justice in our society. A judge should participate in establishing, maintaining and enforcing high standards of conduct, and should personally observe those standards so that the integrity and independence of the judiciary is preserved. The provisions of this code are to be construed and applied to further that objective. Canon 2. Avoiding impropriety and the appearance of impropriety in all of the judge's activities. A judge shall comply with the law and should act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. B. A judge shall not allow any relationship to influence judicial conduct or judgment. A judge shall not lend the prestige of judicial office to advance the private interests of the judge or others, nor shall a judge convey or permit others to convey the impression that they are in a special position to influence the judge. A judge shall not testify voluntarily as a character witness. C. A judge shall not knowingly hold membership in any organization that practices discrimination prohibited by law. Canon 3. Performing.
We're going to pause right there. Just in short, right? had that one says, I'm not going to rule against my officer. We all know they are leaning onto the officer. They're not allowed to do that. But why they get by with it? Because we're not pushing the issue of the canons.
The duties of judicial office impartially and diligently. A. Judicial duties in general. The judicial duties of a judge take precedence over all the judge's other activities. Judicial duties include all the duties of the judge's office prescribed by law. In the performance of these duties, the following standards apply. B. Adjudicative responsibilities. 1. A judge shall hear and decide matters assigned to the judge except those in which disqualification is required or recusal is appropriate. 2. A judge should be faithful to the law and shall maintain professional competence in it. A judge shall not be swayed by partisan interests, public clamor, or fear of criticism. 3. A judge shall require order and decorum in proceedings before the judge. 4. A judge shall be patient, dignified, and courteous to litigants, juror.
Let's stop right there. Patience, courteous to the litigants. Judy breaks this on every show. Just this one. Every single show she does it. This she does every single time. There's other ones on here, but I wanted to give you directly a point on this.
Witnesses, lawyers, and others with whom the judge deals in an official capacity, and should require similar conduct of lawyers, and of staff, court officials, and others subject to the judge's direction and control. 5. A judge shall perform judicial duties without bias or prejudice. 6. A judge shall not, in the performance of judicial duties, by words or conduct manifest bias or prejudice, including but not limited to bias or prejudice based upon race, sex, religion, national origin, disability, age, sexual orientation, or socio-economic status, and shall not knowingly permit staff, court officials, and others subject to the judge's direction and control to do so. 7. A judge shall require lawyers in proceedings before the court to refrain from manifesting, by words or conduct, bias or prejudice based on race, sex, religion, national.
Right there, right? The judge is not allowed to say, hey, you are a liar. I don't believe you. And all that kind of stuff. She's supposed to go by the facts. Judy has never had firsthand knowledge of any of these cases to make any type of determination on that.
Origin, disability, age, sexual orientation, or socio-economic status against parties, witnesses, counsel, or others. This requirement does not preclude legitimate advocacy when any of these factors is an issue in the proceeding. 8. A judge shall accord to every person who has a legal interest in a proceeding, or that person's lawyer, the right to be heard according to law. A judge shall not initiate, permit, or consider ex parte communications or other communications made to the judge outside the presence of the parties between the judge and a party, an attorney, a guardian or attorney ad litem, an alternative dispute resolution neutral, or any other court appointee concerning the merits of a pending or impending judicial proceeding. A judge shall require compliance with this subsection by court personnel subject to the judge's direction and control. This subsection does not prohibit a. Communications concerning uncontested administrative or uncontested procedural matters. B. Conferring separately with the parties and other lawyers in an effort to mediate or settle matters, provided, however, that the judge shall first give notice to all parties and not thereafter hear any contested matters between the parties except with the consent of all parties. C. Obtaining the advice of a disinterested expert on the law applicable to a proceeding before the judge if the judge gives notice to the parties of the person consulted and the substance of the advice, and affords the parties reasonable opportunity to respond. D. Consulting with other judges or with court personnel. E. Considering an ex parte communication expressly authorized by law. 9. A judge should dispose of all judicial matters promptly, efficiently, and fairly. 10. A judge shall abstain from public comment about a pending or impending proceeding which may come before the judge's court in a manner which suggests to a reasonable person the judge's probable decision on any particular case.
All right, Again, people, what are they doing? Promptly? No. This is the reason why Randy is going after the judges, right? You're supposed to be taken to the nearest magistrate before going to jail. They're breaking this.
Prohibition applies to any candidate for judicial office with respect to judicial proceedings pending or impending in the court on which the candidate would serve if elected. A judge shall require similar abstention on the part of court personnel subject to the judge's direction and control. This section does not prohibit judges from making public statements in the course of their official duties or from explaining for public information the procedures of the court. This section does not apply to proceedings in which the judge or judicial candidate is a litigant in a personal capacity. 11. A judge shall not disclose or use, for any purpose unrelated to judicial duties, non-public information acquired in a judicial capacity. The discussions, votes, positions taken, and writings of appellate judges and court personnel about causes or confidences of the court and shall be revealed only through a court's judgment, a written opinion, or in accordance with Supreme Court guidelines for a court-approved history project. C.
Right? Right there. Again, they're breaking it. The Supreme Court says once jurisdiction has been challenged, they must tell you how they have it. But they don't tell you. They just say they have it. Well, right now, the other attorney against you, and you are going by judge's hearsay.
Administrative responsibilities. 1. A judge should diligently and promptly discharge the judge's administrative responsibilities without bias or prejudice, and maintain professional competence in judicial administration, and should cooperate with other judges and court officials in the administration of court business. 2. A judge should require staff, court officials, and others subject to the judge's direction and control to observe the standards of fidelity and diligence that apply to the judge and to refrain from manifesting bias or prejudice in the performance of their official duties. 3. A judge with supervisory authority for the judicial performance of other judges should take reasonable measures to assure the prompt disposition of matters before them and the proper performance of their other judicial responsibilities. 4. A judge shall not make unnecessary appointments. A judge shall exercise the power of appointment impartially and on the basis of merit. A judge shall avoid nepotism and favoritism. A judge shall not approve compensation of appointees beyond the fair value of services rendered. 5. A judge shall not fail to comply with Rule 12 of the Rules of Judicial Administration, knowing that the failure to comply is in violation of the rule. D. Disciplinary responsibilities. 1. A judge who receives information clearly establishing that another judge has committed a violation of this code should take appropriate action. A judge having knowledge that another judge has committed a violation of this code that raises a substantial question as to the other judge's fitness for office shall inform the State Commission on Judicial Conduct or take other appropriate action. 2. A judge who receives information clearly establishing that a lawyer has committed a violation of the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct should take appropriate action. A judge having knowledge that a lawyer has committed a violation of the Texas...
They break that rule all the time, the lower courts. When you go into the higher courts, they're still administrative in Texas. We don't really have judges. But when you go to a higher court, what do? They still back up the lower courts.
Disciplinary rules of professional conduct that raises a substantial question as to the lawyer's honesty, trustworthiness, or fitness as a lawyer in other respects shall inform the office of the General Counsel of the State Bar of Texas or take other appropriate action. Canon.
Sorry. All right. These attorneys just throw cases in their case law, right? But it does not apply into the case they're particularly in, just for hoping something would stick. It's been done over and over and over. And none of these judges or magistrates are researching the case law that they're using, and they're not filing bar grievance against attorneys. That's a canon, y'all. that they are ignoring.
Or conducting the judge's extrajudicial activities to minimize the risk of conflict with judicial obligations. A. Extrajudicial activities in general. A judge shall conduct all of the judge's extrajudicial activities so that they do not 1. Cast reasonable doubt on the judge's capacity to act impartially as a judge, or 2. Interfere with the proper performance of judicial duties. B. Activities to improve the law. A judge may 1. Speak, write, lecture, teach and participate in extrajudicial activities concerning the law, the legal system, the administration of justice and non-legal subjects, subject to the requirements of this code, and 2. Serve as a member, officer, or director of an organization or governmental agency devoted to the improvement of the law, the legal system, or the administration of justice. A judge may assist such an organization in raising funds and may participate in their management and investment, but should not personally participate in public fundraising activities. He or she may make recommendations to public and private fund granting agencies on projects and programs concerning the law, the legal system, and the administration of justice. C. Civic or charitable activities. A judge may participate in civic and charitable activities that do not reflect adversely upon the judge's impartiality or interfere with the performance of judicial duties. A judge may serve as an officer, director, trustee, or non-legal advisor of an educational, religious, charitable, fraternal, or civic organization not conducted for the profit of its members, subject to the following limitations. 1. A judge should not serve if it is likely that the organization will be engaged in proceedings that would ordinarily come before the judge, or will be regularly or frequently engaged in adversary proceedings in any court.
All right, we're going to pause here because too many minutes went by. All right, this will be the People News, Part 2.